Welcome back, guys. So in our previous video we have talked about what a database cluster is and how how we uh, use these commands to start and stop the database server, different database instances on a particular cluster. So in this video will be talking, not talking, we are going to the lab and doing all these manual. Okay, so let's go to the lab. So we already have our one PostgreSQL installed in this server. You can find that in post program files if you have not changed the location. So that will be found in program files, PostgreSQL, and then this is the version name. Version like we have 12th version, so 12, and then bin data every file for this database. You can uninstall it from here as well. Like, okay, so this is the data directory for our previous cluster. Like, we at this moment on this data in this server we have only one database cluster instance. So let's see how we can start a new database cluster on it. First we are going to first let me show you how to start this cluster pgc, how to see the status of this cluster. So there's no server running right now. We can start it using this command, pgctl start. Okay, so it is started. Let's see the status. See the status, it is running right now. So how we connect to this server? PSQL hyphen capital U for user Postgres. Okay, then you enter and the password for your this Postgres user will be used when we asked when you install the uh, PostgreSQL, and you enter a particular password at the time of installation. See, I'm in the PostgreSQL right now. With L we can check the data, all the databases in here. This is the default this is the PostgreSQL database, and this is template 0, template 1. This is the test database. I have created that. Okay, so this is all about the this particular instance, but I want to install a second cluster on the same server. For that I'm using another command prompt. On this I have used this one. Let's just exit from this. Okay, so but still I'm using the another command prompt, so that I'll be showing you that in the sometime. Okay, so this is the directory for first database instance, but we need to create another database directory for, because we cannot start our database second database instance on with the same directory. So for that we need a new data directory. So I have created a folder new cluster and then data. We'll be using this to create our new cluster. So how we do it? We need to use this initdb command. This is hyphen d hyphen capital D, that is for the data directory, and we'll be mentioning the data directory for our new cluster database. Okay, so this is initdb hyphen d. The command will be c new cluster data, which is this, not this, the old one. C new cluster data. Okay, C new cluster data, and then you need to use this is very important, user hyphen hyphen username and then hyphen u, which is required when you get if you are not use this you'll get an error. I'll describe that error in my another video. Okay, so but you need to use this one. Okay, if you do not use this you'll be getting an error. uh, as there is no, I'll mentioning that video somewhere in the I link. I'll be creating that video. And that hyphen w is that for you will be prompted for the password for the user, for this user. Okay, so here, okay, let's see, we are going to start a new database cluster with this new data directory. Okay, so password, to enter the password 2 times. It is initializing everything. Let's see. Okay, so in the new cluster data we have data files here right now. Just these are just created. Once we use this initdb utility, these are just created. Okay, so first thing we need to do to start this uh, so that we'll start this new cluster, first we need to update the port for this, because the default port for a particular postgres instance is 5432. We have talked in our previous video. Okay, so every time you start a new cluster, that will be with the 5432 port. But on the same instance, we cannot have on the same cluster we cannot have two instances, db instances with the same port. So we need to change the port for it. So we have changed the port, saving it, close it. Okay, so now I'm going to start our new server. So for that you need to use this pgctl-d, this -o, and then -p. This is for port 5433, and then you need to start with the log file, as all the database has, earlier database also has log file in this, in that location. Let me show you. This database has, you see, data. This is our first cluster that has log file. Okay, so we need to mention the log file for this as well. We don't have log file, so that will be using, this cluster is also using the same log file, or maybe we can uh, mention the another log file path name for that. Okay, so I'm using that command pgctl-d c new cluster -o, and then this is for port, and this -l for log file, then start. Okay, let's see. Okay, so our start is done. Let's see the status. See, Postgres is running with this PID 11520, and this is our data file location. This is the location of Postgres process, and with this port, this is the port. Okay, so it is started. Let's try to connect to this our second server. To make the connection, we have this psql-u. We have the this user which we have created, and then the new port 5433-d. This is for the database. Small d is for the database, and capital D is for the data directory location. Okay, so we are in the inside with the psql. We need to use this small d for the database, what database we want to connect to. Let's see. Okay, so we are connected. See, it has only 3 databases here which are default: Postgres, template, and template 1. These are the default databases for creating new databases, templates, and this is the default database. It has all the files and files and tables to run PostgreSQL. So this is the master database, you can say. You see, we have the owner is GK user. So let's see how many users we have here. See, we have only one user here, which is created by hyphen hyphen username. So this is very much important. If you do not use this, your database won't work. I'll show you that in next video, in our another video. So this is very much required. You can use, you need to mention hyphen hyphen username and then username of whatever you like. That can be anything. So this is our second database cluster, which is running fine. Let's try to connect to our first database, first cluster. So for that, let's check if that is running. Oh, that's is running. Let's try to connect to our first default instance on a particular server. We need not to mention the data directory. Let's see. So I'm connected. Let's see what the databases we have here. You see, on this cluster we have four databases: Postgres, template 0, template 1. These are the templates to create the new database. But yeah, still four databases. This is a test database which I have created on our first cluster, and this is our second cluster which we have just created. On this we do not have this test database. So that's how we do. That's just, I'm just this showing you that this is the new diff cluster we just created, and the data file for this is at about this location, new cluster data. So this will be showing you everything about our second cluster, and this is our first cluster. These are the data directory for our first cluster. Anything you do on our first cluster, that will be shown in here, and anything you will be on or do on our second cluster, those will be stored here. Okay, so anything you need to change or update, you can use this. You can also see what are the data directory for them. I'll show you to see the current database. That's not, should be here. Show data directory. You can use this command. Okay, let's see here. You see the data directory for this is C program files, Postgres 12 and data. And let's see for this one, second cluster, that is C new cluster and then data. So that's how you create a second cluster of database PostgreSQL instance, second instance of PostgreSQL on your same database cluster. So a database server on which we have one or more than one database instance, we call that as database cluster. So that's how you can create and install more than one database instance of Postgres on one particular server. So that's all, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. Thank you.